What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling podcast. I am Justin, here with Meelz. What's up, Meelz?
Wait. Hold on. Might have to switch it up. Hold on.
What? You're gonna get us flagged.
Hold on. I'm only playing the first couple seconds. Hold on. What about this? Maybe.
You trying to appeal to me?
No. Hold on. It's I'm feeling very, very New York right now. Hold on.
Boy.
What about this? Do you remember this song?
Yeah, I do.
I just want a Picasso in my casa, not my castle.
Oh my god.
New York, man. We up. I feel good. I feel really, really good.
Get them niggas out of here, man.
Hey man, we getting them. We trying. We got one more of them to get out of here, and then that is it. But I feel really, really good. Everyone still doubts that the Knicks will actually. People are like, still Boston will probably win the next game, and I'm just like, come on, man. Y'all seen it in front of your eyes of what the majesty of this team, but God,
tired. Boston just looks tired. I think that
they are
just mentally broken.
It's tough to do it again, right? Like you win a championship once, it's tough to replicate that again. That's why so many teams haven't done it. And it's so rare that other teams. That's why like Michael Jordan is otherworldly for literally three-peating twice.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even know Braun has repeated. But yeah, he's rarely ever done it twice in a row. So it's just really, really tough. You really kind of have to have luck in everything that. But with that said, I'm feeling good, man. First of all, well, not even first of all, this is I guess second of all, happy anniversary.
Thank you. 3 years.
Yeah, man. Listen.
3 years.
Married bliss, man. Look at you.
I was just thinking also I'm doing this on my anniversary date, which just shows you how dedicated.
Listen, I thought you were gonna call out.
No, I couldn't call out. I mean, she's here, so it's fine.
Okay.
But
it is what it is. Happy anniversary to both of you guys, and I hope everyone else wishes you a happy anniversary as well.
Oh man, thanks. I just realized I've done this show not married, and then I've done this show married. That's how long we've been doing this.
You've done this show longer not married than married, but I feel like we're cutting the even point at this point, and it's getting me scared.
Yeah.
It's like it's gonna be a longer relationship than we have.
This show is unk.
This show is unk for sure. I saw a fucking tweet that you just tweeted literally a couple minutes ago that says, I want to start One Piece. And I could not be more concerned about why.
You're physically revolted when you
because I have started One Piece, right?
Uh-huh.
And One Piece, I'm not even halfway through anymore because episodes keep coming out. So it's like now I'm like maybe like 46% of the way through, and I'm 500 plus episodes in.
So I have questions. All right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's hear it.
My 3 things with J5. Might be 5 things with J5.
Okay.
So the manga's still going?
The manga's still going. They have not. The idea is they have to find the One Piece, which is this legendary treasure.
Yeah, I know that part. I've watched
They've not found a One Piece yet, even in the manga.
Okay. So the manga's still going. Is the anime caught up to where the manga is?
No. It rarely ever is.
What?
That just shows you how much insane filler that this show has. Now, you can skip the filler. Don't get me wrong. There is also a website called onepace.me.
Yes.
Where they combine episodes. So they'll take like maybe like 7 episodes and make it and shave it down to like 4, and they're like 30-minute episodes or something along those lines. So that's a website that I use to get through this because you can watch it on Netflix. I've watched it on Netflix. I've watched it at 1.25 speed on Netflix. It's still fucking long. Like it's just long. So, and there are arcs that are like not good. You got to understand this is from the era of anime where we grew up, right? Like
Huh.
let's talk about like Dragon Ball Z for instance. Where things were just drawn out for no reason. And a lot of that happened because the manga, again, it was catching up to the manga. The manga was coming out on a weekly basis. The anime is coming out on a weekly basis. It was starting to catch up to the manga. So they included a bunch of filler in it. Or they extended a lot of episodes. And that's literally One Piece may have revolutionized, invented that shit because there are arcs that are 157 episodes. There
I'm
are
okay.
arcs.
I'm looking at anime filler guide. All right.
Yeah,
I think I could do it.
I think you can do it. Listen,
I'm not.
if
I listen. I just want to get to the cool shit. When I was in Japan, I know I talked about this on the show before. I was there for Gear 5 premiere day,
yeah, yeah.
and they treated that like it would like schools was out. Like they like it literally was that big of a deal, right?
Mhm.
I want to
But
feel. I want to feel what they felt.
I feel you, but that takes a lot of watching to get
But,
there.
but I just want to get to the. Can someone just give me a list of the cool shit, like the coolest like
You
episodes I
you
can watch, and then I'll start.
I've been through this on the lookout. You kinda there's certain things you have to watch in context to make things make sense. And you have to get through a lot. Now, personally me, if I had to make you like completely cheat on things, I would say watch niggas gonna flame me, especially One Piece fans. Oh my god, they're gonna flame me. You watch the first saga, which is the East Blue.
Okay, this let me just straight up tell you. I watched most of all of the live action one.
Okay, okay.
I
So you
wa
kind of
and
have an idea of East Blue, yeah. That's pretty much
yeah,
all of East Blue.
and I watched a couple of episodes of the anime. I can't remember which ones, and I saw
Nigga,
Gear 5 premiere, like the when he first turned into him.
nigga, you were telling me you were trying to game the system by skipping like 1,011 episodes. Like you can do that. It's just you're not going to get the full breadth of like what it is. Um, all I can say is they're peak One Piece moments. Um, East Blue, which is essentially the live action thing. There's a second season of it, which I'm gonna be honest with you. The second season of the live action, which will cover a couple of arcs. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a. I'm
It's
kind of a
taking
fan.
forever. It's taking forever to come out.
Yeah, but
Okay,
I
hold
get
on, hold
it.
on, hold 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 on. It has 1,128 episodes divided into
Yeah,
21 seasons. 98 are filler. How the fuck is that possible?
bro. I'm telling you. Bro. I'm telling you,
How
bro.
is that
These
possible?
are long fucking things, man. Like they're long.
So the amount is not significant as it leaves us with 1,030 canon episodes. However, if you want to focus on the main story, it's best to skip the filler. Watching all episodes of One Piece would take 374 hours. However, by skipping the filler, you can save 32 hours, bringing the time to 342 hours. It may not seem like much, but you can also skip the opening minutes. Another useful tip included.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That is.
they
Yeah.
actually have where you can start the episode, like literally exactly where you can start it.
No, of course
And
they do. At whatever time, and that is helpful. It's definitely helpful on Netflix. It's the reason why I watch it on Netflix, not fucking Crunchyroll. It's 100%. Netflix will get you right. However, One Piece, you realize that the journey is part of the fulfillment with watching One Piece. Believe it or not, because getting through these 500 episodes and stuff, I'm like, "Ah, I get it. I get it. I fucking get it." What I'll say is, if you can get through if you can get through the Arlong Park thing, which is the live action. I mean, it is. You can get through Arlong Park. Um, let me skip around a little bit because I know what I. You know what? Rob would
this is
be a
crazy.
better
This
Ugly
is
New
crazy.
York. would be a better thing to
Yeah,
tell you which
to
one.
tap in. I wanna tap in. I wanna tap in. I wanna be a fan. I wanna fuck with One Piece, but I wanna get to the cool
Arabasta,
I wanna get the One Piece tattoos. I wanna be up there. I wanna like, here's the thing, I could teach niggas about JoJo. You know what I'm saying? I did
this is
JoJo.
true. I'll say this, the Water 7 saga is the point. The Water 7 saga is the point where I was like, "Th
I get it.
this is it.
I get it.
This
Yeah, yeah,
is
I get it. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Alright.
this is it. This is peak One Piece right here." Water 7 changed my entire view because it was like I was like, "I'm just watching these episodes. This shit is lame as fuck sometimes." It's great battles and shit, but ultimately like, Water 7 got me there, and
Okay.
then you start really rolling with the series, essentially.
Alright. Well, Ugly New York, Mama Rob. He didn't accept me. He didn't accept me taking his soul a couple weeks ago. So we have a very tumultuous relationship right now.
D
But I'll ask him.
don't talk to, like, I mean, he is a diehard one. I mean, he's a big One Piece fan, but don't talk to, like, the OD One Piece fans will tell you you're not skipping shit. Everything is important.
Well, you know I'm not listening to that.
Yeah, 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 essentially. So, um, yeah, it's a tough, but I would One Pace it. One Pace it is pretty.
Let me look up
One
One
Pace helps my
Piece.
life pretty handedly, especially covering all these stuff when I had to cover it for Lookout and stuff. One Pace helped me heavily.
Bro, it removes filler scene. Is this legal?
It's not illegal,
It's not
nigga.
illegal.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, what are you putting all
I
that filler in here? All
all
these
right.
47 hours of fillers, supposedly. Um, all
Well,
right. God bless.
yeah, thanks. Thanks. Listen, when I come back in a month and say, "Hey man, I'm in episode 1002 of One Piece right now." You're like, "How'd you do that?" And I was like, "I just skipped around."
I'm only at I'm in Punk Hazard and I just took a break because Punk Hazard is also like there's stuff to get to stuff that I need to watch. So I'm like building up to Dressrosa and I need to get through Punk Hazard before I get there. But to get there I had to go through Fishman Island. But then to get through Fishman Island, you have to go to the Marine Fort. And this is like it's part of this when they say there's very little filler, it's true.
But there's a lot of fights though, and that's what I can respect about One Piece. But sorry, we're
Yeah.
this is a wrestling show, so
Yes,
it's
this
like
is. This
asking
is.
somebody to
Nigga, we
chronicle the
watch
blood.
wrestling every week. You know what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah.
never ending. We watch One Piece. This is raw.
Basically, that's what I was saying. It's like if somebody wanted to do the Bloodline saga. If we want to do the Bloodline saga, right? What's the one pace for the Bloodline saga? Like, would it be like what's the filler? I think the filler would probably be the Logan Paul arc,
Logan Paul arc,
LA Knight arc,
low key Finn Balor arc.
Finn Balor arc is filler for sure. Nakamura
uh
arc like is kind of tied
Nakamura
into that
arc.
too.
Yeah,
Uh,
the LA Knight arc.
yeah, LA Knight arc. Like I said, big filler arc.
It's like everything between
Between the Jay Roman match at SummerSlam and when Roman returns, like that January is all filler.
yeah, and then you go from like essentially WrestleMania to like WrestleMania. Because, like, what the fuck did Roman Reigns do after WrestleMania 39?
Well, he actually worked a lot more in 2020, 2021. I would say those are probably the best year. I'd say there's probably very little filler between those years in 2020, 2021. I would say
Yeah.
every time he showed up on TV, it was probably must see, other than like parts of the Daniel Bryan angle when he went
Yeah,
on
Daniel
TV both times.
Bryan, Edge. Would you run back Edge?
I'd run back Edge because
Okay.
it was a pretty big deal. He had returned uh
But
earlier
is it a
before that.
big deal to Edge or a big deal to the Bloodline? Like,
It's a big deal to Bloodline because that was the it ties into, doesn't that tie into a little bit of the Rey Mysterio stuff too? I would say that even though Rey Mysterio could be filler, I would say I will put that on the non-filler list. The Rey
you
Mysterio arc
know
is pretty good.
you know what? Rewriters Room has been doing the Bloodline for pretty much the past 6 months.
Yes, they have.
So, check out the episodes of Rewriters Room because they will we got the Drew arc is very important. Drew arc for sure.
The
We
Drew arc
we
is important if only for the fact that the Drew arc had implications of his character right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like his character right now leads into that. KO's character leads into that. But those are other characters' arcs. But like the Bloodline saga is the One Piece saga.
No, it is. It is. Kind of.
The
Um
in the One Piece is the Ulafala.
uh
Even I would say even as far as filler, like some of that the summer solo in some places is filler shit too.
Summer solo is important because I
Oh, it
feel like
leads back to the
if someone leaves the bloodline or turns on the bloodline, I feel like that's important.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Like it leads to Roman's return, so it's definitely important. Um, we got a bunch of news to cover this week, though.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's start with some bummer news. I think Sabu, legendary homicidal, genocidal, suicidal, Sabu passed away at the age of 60 over the weekend. Um Obviously, it goes without saying this guy's a legend. You know what I mean? ECW, even WWE and ECW, he got a huge push in 2006 that out of nowhere at that point.
Vince
Um,
fucked with him. I
I think
believe it.
yeah, Vince really liked Sabu. He was on Raw, like
Yeah,
wrestling.
nigga was like, can, I'm sure Vince was like, nigga, can you wrestle regular matches? Like that
He's
would
like,
do me a solid if you could just wrestle a regular ass match.
no, Bubba, I can't. No, Bubba, I
The
can't.
dude would just
Can't do
start
that.
pulling out a table under the ring. I remember he entered the Rumble one year, and before he gets in the ring, he just grabs a table and starts setting it
Yes.
up.
And it's actually, like, low key funny,
Yeah.
that he did that. Like, again, like, there's so many moments, I mean, the matches with RVD, the tag team him and RVD has, matches with
That's
Taz.
where I learned about Sabu for sure.
Yeah, like his match with Tab, one of the greatest to me wrestling moments, and I'm shocked that they haven't done this or redone it before. Is I don't know if you remember this in ECW when Sabu the lights go out and Taz in the ring, and then the lights come back on and it's him and Sabu standing next to each other in the ring facing off just to set up for their match. I'm like, that is so badass. Like that was one of
Mhm.
those moments that you know you saw how big of a deal he was and you saw how beloved he was just for what he did in that ring,
Right.
and just such a huge fan of Sabu.
I mean, he really kind of helped usher in the extreme and hardcore and violent style of wrestling in the United States. Just really overall, just a pioneer. Again, very just revered, but then also like important.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, everyone's giving him his. I would have loved if they did like a tribute match or something along those lines somewhere. Like, I just feel like we need a tribute match. Maybe it happens on AEW. It feels like it would more likely happen on AEW than any of the actual weekly shows
Yeah,
on
because
WWE.
they can't actually use any footage of him
I
because they
mean,
don't have any.
yes. I mean, they got the footage. He accompanied Adam Cole to a match one time.
Yeah, I'll be like, "Nah, I don't even use that, man."
Adam Cole is like my mentor, Sabu. You know, where would Paragon be without Sabu? Um, so yeah, we got that, and then they're also doing a tribute to Steve McMichael this week on Dynamite as well. Steve Mongo McMichael, who on my rewatch of Monday Night Nitro, uh, very important character, kind of like to the show for a long, long time, and it's kind of a shame in the way like he kind of went out.
Yeah,
Um, but Steve Mongo McMichael, also someone that we lost recently. Wrestling losses are never fun, but I think they're always respected and revered, especially for everyone making these great contributions. That's why Loki, it's kind of like we'll talk about a little bit later of the like the stupid back and forth online
yeah,
about some shit, but that's kind of like one of the reasons why this shit is kind of dumb. Um, but we'll get into that. But rest in peace, Sabu. Rest in peace, Steve Mongo McMichael. Um, yeah.
yeah. Um, Other news, WWE Evolution 2 leaked, in a strange way, but it's been I mean, it's been said or been rumored for quite some time that WWE was gonna do Evolution 2. so many people have been doomering this whole thing
Yeah, come
in
on, man.
terms of
Doom
just like
posting.
well, we'll get to doom posters and how sick. I saw something today where like somebody was just like they're chanting, "You tapped out at Gunther, Triple H. This is all your fault."
Triple nose. You get what you get coming.
Like, didn't they chant that to like Jericho or not Jericho, like
Kurt Angle,
Kurt
Triple H,
Angle,
Stone
Triple
Cold
H?
Steve Austin,
Like,
literally anyone who tapped out.
do people watch wrestling anymore, or have they ever watched it before in their lives?
I don't think no, I don't think so. I don't think they've watched wrestling before. I think the idea of the again, like we've talked about so many times, the parasocialness with it kind of clouds people's minds and memories of its kind of logic. So rather instead of looking through it through the guise of like what professional wrestling is, they look at through the guise of like who their favorite person is and if they're receiving favorable push and or
A mega
not.
push, because that's all they care
Yeah.
about is everyone getting a mega push.
And if one of their favorites doesn't, it's like they're also doing this person bad by putting them in this situation. Because it's like, nigga, it's Gunther is fine, bro. Like he knows what it is.
No,
He tapped
well,
out.
I would argue that like he's probably happy with how Saturday went. We're gonna talk about that later, but like he's probably fine. Like you don't get to make a bigger heel by just having them beat everybody because there's no reason to like he'll end up getting cheered. And we'll talk about that with John Cena. Like there's a careful way to build somebody like him that won't be wrestling all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Like you have to make there be he has to have adversity, but not through the ways that like you or the traditional ways you would get adversity on somebody. So like it's just so weird. I truly wonder what people want or what they expect from the game nowadays, like the wrestling game. Like I don't understand what people want anymore, to be honest. But Evolution 2 is slated to take place in Atlanta, Georgia, this July. In fact, it's gonna I mean, it's gonna be a big weekend for WWE because I believe that Saturday night's main event is going to be the day before on that Saturday. And then Evolution 2 will be that Sunday, which is also the same day as All In.
if you're a wrestling fan, for those who just love wrestling, you should be happy about this. But people are not. But it is what it is. I think
Yes.
Evolution 2, um, it's been a long time coming. I think it's a. I'll be interested to see kind of like how they pull it off, especially considering how they do PLEs now. Because imagining Evolution with just 5 matches,
Mhm, mhm.
as opposed to the number of matches they had the previous years, it will probably piss a lot of people off. Um,
It's going to be 5 matches. So
yeah,
let's
yeah.
just get that off the way out right now. And if we were to book it today,
Ooh,
you
okay.
could already kind of figure who's gonna be on it. Like you can already see who's gonna be on it. I think that there is a top 4 of old guard, and I don't even like call them old guard, but I would say like, talent that's been there for a while, and there's like a top
Hmm.
4 of the newer talent that's gonna be there. And obviously, you got your Bailey, Charlotte, Becky is like and maybe Alexa, I'd say. Maybe is that top 4.
Hey,
Um,
man.
and then you got
You
Asuka on the way back. And now you have newcomers like Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Jay Cargill. You still got Bianca Belair up there as well, but I don't know if she'll be back yet by July. It seems like she's gonna be gone for a while.
yeah.
And I mean, and then you got people like Roxanne and Julia who they could call up from NXT to do some stuff, or even Stephanie Vaquer, who I would be very shocked if she's not on this show, to be honest.
They've got a lot of things to play with on the show, and I think they also have an opportunity to make it a show where it just feels less it feels more of a celebration of women's wrestling than it does like actual we're continuing to build storylines, and this is just like part 2 to Saturday night's main event.
Yeah,
I think they have opportunity similar to kind of like what they did last time, um, with showcasing NXT and showcasing those women, or saying like, "Hey, we have this generational match that we haven't you think that you would ever see this," to be able especially to get people to buy tickets, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And I keep thinking of the rumors of like the Ronda rumors where they're like, "WWE's interested in getting Ronda back. WWE's
yeah.
interested in getting Ronda back." And I keep thinking it popped in my mind when Evolution 2 starting to make rounds in terms of the rumor mill, and I'm like, that's probably why they want her back for something. Now, if I were her, I probably wouldn't do it, but also if I were
I feel
WWE,
like
I wouldn't call Ronda.
the big hook's probably gonna be the Bellas, right?
Yes, I mean, the Bellas have been everything
They're
short of telling you that they're going to be there.
Yeah, they've been angling for that return for the past couple of weeks now, but, I think them maybe Paige shows up in some capacity. The thing is that, like, they have a wealth of riches, and it's not lost on me the amount of, like, talent that, like, is not there that they haven't brought back.
Mhm.
So maybe there's some headway there in terms of, getting some of those people on the show now, so, definitely gonna be very interesting to see, how that shakes out. I truly I can't call it what's gonna happen there.
I can't call it either, but this going on the same day as All In um is definitely going to make for a sticky situation between people splitting their time and watching both. Uh I don't think All In happens at I think All In happens in the afternoon, fortunately. But or maybe it but does All In
Well,
happen
you
on
know what?
Saturday? All In happens on Saturday. Saturday night's main event happens later, and I think um Evolution is supposed to be the following day. That's what I think is happening.
Yeah, it's the following day. It's not the same day.
Right, 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 right.
It's that weekend. It's that weekend. Here's my thing, man. If
Mm.
you don't support women's wrestling on WWE and you just watch AEW, you're not a fan of wrestling.
You're not a fan, bro.
You're a fan of AEW. Just gonna say that. Just gonna put that out there. All right. You don't love all wrestling. Uh Tetsuya Naito, this came out, midweek, I think, last week, has departed New Japan Pro Wrestling. They could not come to terms on a new deal, and he has promptly left the company, leaving a lot of people wondering what's next for him. He did an interview, I think, a couple of days ago, that I saw where he was just talking about, the final days of him in New Japan, just how, he just felt like it really wasn't the place for him anymore, and, you could kinda
That's
see that.
crazy. That's crazy, bro.
But he's always been very vocal about where the company was going. He did not like, remember back in the day, he didn't like that all of the gringos were coming. All the
Yeah.
white dudes were coming. He was not a big fan of that. Like, I think, like, he was cool with AJ and Kenny, and then the influx of crackers came in, and that's like the Bucks, and it was just so many crackers. He was just like, "What is going on here? This is not." He was, "What happened to the game that I loved?"
Yeah.
Like literally, he was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And I feel him. I think that he was someone that loved the company. He loved where he was, and he just wasn't. He just didn't see himself there anymore.
It says, in this article, according to the newsletter, says he is not retiring. He underwent surgery on his left eye, a procedure he has undergone 4 previous times in recent years, and is hoping to start stem cell treatment on his right knee. Once he has recovered from eye surgery. Naito reportedly knows that his right knee is never going to be at 100% again, but is undergoing the treatment so that he can get much strength back in it as possible for when he eventually does return. So he does plan to return to wrestling one day. Who knows? It'll be for New Japan. Who knows if it won't be? But this is another major loss for like New Japan, essentially. And
They don't
New
got
Japan,
much. They
they
don't
don't
got
got
much.
much. They don't got much. But if one thing is certain, it's like this is like the cycle that wrestling goes through, and this is the importance of why you need to build up new stars on a frequent basis, and why some stars eventually just get pushed to the side a little bit, and new stars kind of have to make place, so you don't really have to go in situations like this where you're losing kind of another major top star. I mean,
now, now, if I'm New Japan, do
sure.
you make a play for some of these released talent from AEW, from Impact, from WWE to bolster your roster? I know that the thing about it is that they have to travel and be in Japan for large parts of the year, but a lot of these people are younger. And like, do you make a play to get some of these younger talent to be on these shows?
Like Jakara? Like, is that
Go to hell. That's number one. Go to hell. That's literally not something that should be happening. She needs to get better in different ways other than that. Um, but do you make a play for, hey, like, maybe I see Dakota Kai's out there and she could bring great quality to my shows, and it would make a lot of sense, and I think the fans would react to it. Like, do you do that?
I think so. I think the key might be in this interim time to continue to build and strengthen partnerships, right? Forbidden Door is coming up. I'm not sure. Let me look at this Forbidden Door poster. I'm not even sure if New Japan's on the
It's
bitch.
for Mexico. I think they're working with CMLL this year for Forbidden Door.
Oh, that's crazy. You can do that. But aren't they going to be in England for Forbidden Door?
Yes.
Um, all right. Uh, so I would look. I mean, the key at this point seems to be partnerships, especially when you look at the new AAA. I mean, it's AAA, TNA, WWE one that was announced recently today that they're going to be at. Was it Triple Mania?
Yep.
So all three companies will be represented at Triple Mania this year, which is major, and it allows you to bolster. It adds much intrigue to things that are going on. Definitely adds a lot of news. Um, it's a I would go through that in the interim, but I would also start picking up a lot of these release talents if you can. And the thing is, especially with American talents, you kind of got to like convince them that it's good for them to travel to Japan on a somewhat regular basis. Now,
Right.
some people are for it, but some people are not because there's so much money now with the two companies, and even now TNA, which is starting to build up again. There's so much opportunity for money in the United States that there isn't really that much to be able to go over there. Um, I couldn't see. I don't know what a big free agent game changer that would be for New Japan.
It would have to be um I think when you think again, you say game changer, it'd have to be somebody that like comes over and has the same impact or could have the same impact of a AJ Styles. Like I know New Japan does a lot with the development of their younger stars, but that development has been kind of slow. You haven't heard of an Okada level talent there in a very long time.
Hmm.
They do have people like Gabe Kidd, but it might benefit Gabe Kidd to work with somebody that has been on a main roster or been on an AEW roster. You know what I'm saying? But then again, like
Hmm.
he's already worked with Kenny Omega, but somebody on a basis where they actually work there. Like you know what? Like Dolph Ziggler would be cool. You know what I'm saying? Is in terms of just like a older talent that could go over there and really help bolster that roster. Like if people act like they like Dolph Ziggler now, why not let him go over to New Japan?
Bruh. I can't think of a. I'm not going through. I mean, we went through the names. They're largely NXT. I mean, Gallus. If you wanted
That's
Gallus,
great for the tag. They're great for their tag division. They're going to be over in Ireland. Not not too different of a flight.
right? I
Heading
haven't
over
heard
there.
much from Giovanni Vinci, who's actually really good. Like, actually, that might be his bag.
I think it might
Um,
be selling cars. I don't think he was.
Fabian Eichner. Fabian Eichner he was
He
valid.
can
I
sell
don't know what
cars,
he been
man.
doing.
He can sell
Uh,
cars.
he was a former Evolve champion, and now they got new Evolve. Let's see. I I just haven't heard from him. I hope he's all right. Um, that's probably it. I mean, they haven't released anyone worth a damn. Like they not these are not game changing releases, but in my opinion, I would continue to strengthen your relationship with AEW. AEW
Yeah,
at this point has more than enough people on the roster for them to count. So if there's something like if a Keith Lee is available and he can work over in Japan for a number of months, if he's not being used on AEW television, I would do that. If it's something where again a you have a number of people who just aren't doing anything,
yeah.
and you probably gonna end up releasing them, keep it a buck with you, but if you have the opportunity to continue want to develop these people on your roster, why not put them over there? Why not send I don't know if you sent Private Party, but
They're not. They're not. Because the thing is, we already know that AEW partnership only goes one way, and that's the Bucks and Kenny go over there, and nobody else does.
hey man, if
And
you
and
send
Tech
Private Party,
Takashita.
it's going a different way. You send
Well, I
Private
mean,
Party,
yeah.
niggas is
Well, don't even get me started on the development, and this is heavy air quotes of Private Party. Like they don't care about that type of shit. I'll never forget the extreme boo boo face their private party had on a couple of months ago when they had to lose to the to the old niggas.
a
I'll
a
never forget
a
that.
as they should. Also, who the fuck was, signed who just showed up this past week on the show? Angelico. Like, you're not using Angelico.
Yeah.
Like, just throw them on, New Japan, or at least, like, this is the you kinda gotta build, you kinda gotta learn, you kinda gotta do things like that.
But
Shelton
those aren't
Benjamin,
like big
people.
stars, but like you send Mox over. Like Mox to me was always far better in New Japan than he was in American TV.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
Like send him over there to do something and let people miss him, you
Or
know?
Claudio or something along those lines,
It just seems like all of the trump cards and all of the jokers that people were holding in terms of what AEW lets people do, what namely one of those things being, "Oh, you could work Japan," is just things that just did not come to pass. You know what I mean? Like these are things that just did not happen. Um, I don't know. It just didn't work.
I feel you. I mean, it's definitely something that they need. I haven't heard diddly squat about New Japan. Like, they were hot on their own before AEW was even a thing.
Yeah.
Like, they were smoking hot with intrigue, with matches, with they cleared the space at the top of the year every year, and it's like, this is the promotion to watch
I mean,
as the year turned, and they just
two
don't have it anymore.
two major things that happen, and I think that like obviously the creation of AEW, but
Yeah.
also when Nakamura departed because he left with AJ. You know what I
He
mean?
left
Like
with AJ, with the other
the Good
dudes.
Brothers and all of that. Like those are the two kind of divergence points for a New Japan
But
because if
then
they
but
if
it's
they
also
keep those
when
guys,
yeah. You're right.
then things are different. If they keep those guys, then things are different. You know,
And then same with, I mean, yeah, the AEW thing, because then at that point Kenny and the Bucks had to leave, and they were also a major part of, um
more Kenny than the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks were particularly liked in New
yeah, but
Japan.
they were, Bullet Club. Like, Bullet Club was big, you know? Like, the impact of that. Now, you never get me, Bucks aren't big for sure, but I would
Yeah,
say the Bullet Club was a thing. Which Bullet Club, I think it's still a thing right now, and it's like, for what reason?
yeah.
Um, so it's definitely a lot of things that have affected New Japan's business. I'm not sure where they know what they need to do. I know they know what they need to do, but they're like, nigga, we caught up right now. Forbidden Doors, what they counted on us.
Yeah, I
they
but
they said they need us.
it's the end of an era though, for especially for Naito, and it really
Yeah,
does signal that like there are some big changes that need to happen in that company, and
yeah.
hopefully they can get there.
Naito, Tanahashi, a lot of just they definitely needs to be big changes, and it just can't be like a front facing AEW
Yeah.
thing.
Ugh.
Speaking
Yuck.
of also AEW, quick thing. Willow Nightingale, contract year. This is the next big news thing. It's contract year news.
Don't go
She's
chasing
not,
waterfalls.
yeah, she's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah. Don't go
But
don't go chasing waterfalls.
would it be to her benefit to leave? We know that she's not leaving, but would it be to her benefit to leave AEW?
I don't think she I don't think people would how do I say this nicely? I don't think people would like the way that she would potentially be booked. So uh let's just kill the middleman here and
Yeah,
just not have her go there. Because we already know that people are going to be upset if she doesn't win 16 world titles and slaps Charlotte in the face the first night. So let's just not even do it. Let's not do it.
I agree. I think she's talented. She's certainly got the resume. She's the ability to have kind of matches. But I look at so many other we look at so many other people who've been in WWE with kind of like gimmicks like her, or like position kind of like her, and they usually don't make it that far. I mean, you can make it to the world champion, but you aren't as respected, or
This isn't to say that she's not talented too. I just
yeah,
think that
yeah.
she would fare far better in a place where it's just so much personalities.
Far better is a
Oh,
stretch. I feel like far better. I don't know if it's far better for her in AEW.
you're right,
I just
and you know
I
what?
just think it's better.
We're not fans, and that's the thing. We're not fans of her booking right now in AEW, but I think that like she probably there's just so much personalities there that I don't want to say what she have to contend with, but like what would have to be. I just don't foresee this being something where a lot of people will be happy with uh how it rolls out for her. So let's just not do it. Let's just not do it. Let's just chill.
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think
I don't want to hear the. I don't want to hear the. I don't want to hear this racism. I don't want to hear none of that. Let's just let her stay.
yeah,
Let her
yeah.
stay. I don't
No,
want
I
to do it
feel you. I feel you. I feel you. There's
because
I
then
mean,
we're gonna be explaining to people why people can't get pushed. You know, to the moon. You
right.
know what I mean? In one instance, it's just gonna be a lot of that, and I just don't think it's worth the
And
time to do
it'll
that.
just be easier to explain that and while she's in AEW.
Yeah, it'll just be like, well, here's the thing, well, it'll be easier to explain it, but, not only will it be easier to explain it in AEW, but, like, people will already have predetermined, reasonings and their predetermined excuses, so let them have that. You can have it. I don't let's just not do it. Let's
Yeah.
just
No, I
let's have
feel you.
fun let's have fun other ways, you
Yeah,
know?
I love Willow, but it's probably better for her in AEW, and I don't say that for a lot of women. Um, but for her, it's probably best for her in AEW.
Now, if
Um,
she were to stay, that would signal some very big issues in that company.
if she were to leave, you mean?
Oh yeah, if she were to leave, that would signal some very big issues in
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
company.
no, no.
There's issues that I don't think we have properly reckoned with of what's going on behind the scenes there if she does leave. So,
Hey man, Evolution 2. Come on now.
nigga, say no evolution too. Uh, Backlash, 2025,
Big backlash.
big bag. Let's do like a real quick review. We've been yapping for a
Sure
while.
have. Sure have.
I thought a better show than it had any right to be, and I think that like obviously like my favorite match is probably the Lyra Becky match. I think is one of the best matches I've seen all year. What is your thoughts on the way they've positioned Lyra since January of this year? I think this has been a solid 5 to 6 months of them positioning her as that girl, but also positioning her as like an actual legitimate top star in the company. What have you thought about her? Her push thus far.
It's clear that they have a lot of faith in her, especially in the ring, and they want her to build as a personality or someone that connects to the audience on camera, and they've given her every opportunity to. And to be honest with you, a lot of it started in the ring, but they have been giving her room on the mic. They have been giving her, program with Becky, the Intercontinental Championship, a lot of stuff like that. So I do think that they're working towards that. Even reaching the semifinals of the Queen of the Ring last year, I thought that was also a big opportunity for her just to be able to go over to Saudi Arabia and have that match with Nia Jax with that impressive finish. Um, I think there's still a ways to go. She wasn't on Raw last night. I assume that's because she fucked up her nose. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think Becky accidentally like fucked her nose up, like she like or broke her nose.
I think so as well. Because yeah, she was holding her nose in the final pinfall of the match. But I mean, that match was incredible. I think
It was a fight. It was a
you
fucking fight.
you can there's more than one way to skin a cat in this instance, and I think getting over the incredible prowess in the ring and having her be able to fight Becky on the level that she did. I kind I'll talk about Becky on thing. I kind of have an issue with Becky right now. Which we can talk about on Raw. It might end up falling into also what we talk about on SmackDown as well. But I think Lyra again stole the show. One of the best matches of the year. I think, to be honest, I think women in WWE have had an amazing match at least once a month, every month this year.
Mhm.
Like, because we just got such a wealth of talent and the bar has been raised so high. And that's because of the Charlottes, the Beckys, the Baileys, the Rheas, the Eos, the Biancas. Like the bar is raised so high. That's why there's this like threshold that there are certain women on one threshold and there are certain women in another threshold. And I think Lyra Valkyria is breaking through that threshold for sure.
Yeah. Other things that happened on this show, I think another strong match of the night contender was that four-way that opened up the show,
Oh yeah.
between Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. Drew suffering what seemed like to be an injury during that match as well. We don't really have any news on how he's doing yet, but he looked to
H said he's
land.
good, I think.
Oh, okay, I didn't see the press conference after, but um we got the debut of Jeff Cobb. They had him by name. They have him by name on socials and things like that. But what do you think about his addition to the company? And in this, we talked about Bloodline. Well, they're you know what? Technically, this isn't the Bloodline anymore. They don't even call
No.
themselves the Bloodline anymore. So
Nah, he lost the right to Bloodline. This is just Solo and the gang.
the family. That's what they keep saying. I think it's been very specific that Jacob keeps saying bring the title back to the hashtag family. So I guess that's what they are right now, the family.
I think it's a great debut for him. I'm interested to see we continue to get these debuts, especially um, I guess I'll use it for this term, bloodline related debuts. But
Yeah.
the things that you have to do to get them over, Loki is at the detriment of the rest of the roster. So if we keep having to debut people surrounded around them, we're not gonna have much good of a roster. But it'll be interesting. I kind of want to see what how they really explain this. Um, if like my man's from, you know, Tamatonga put me on, you know what I'm saying? Because he couldn't be here, so he put me on his man's and his Jeff Cobb and something like that. So I would like it like that. But I think it's a good debut. Solid. Leave some questions. Try to figure out some answers. Um, Interested to see what he does. I just don't want it to be at the detriment of the rest of the roster.
I don't think it'll be the detriment, but I do think that it's very tough for them to book certain acts because of the fact that Damien is so protected. That goes without saying. Damien is
Mhm.
extremely protected. Then you have Solo, who is less. I think of all the people that are protected, Solo is least protected of all of them.
Well, he's
He's
not as much anymore, but he was for a long time. That's
yes,
why that's why I
which
bring
I
that
hated,
up.
and you know
Yeah,
that.
because
I,
because Jacob was for a year. Solo was for like at least a year, year and a half.
Jacob is ongoing. He has not
Yeah,
been pinned by anyone but Roman.
right. Jay and partly Jimmy also was protected for quite some time. So it's kind of like you get these influx of these characters on the show. I mean, Tamatonga and Tangaloa,
Never
but
protected.
no, but they won the tag team championship, so I think they're good. But it's a they're good, but I thought this match was really really good, and I think
Yeah.
all four men,
They did their thing. They did their thing.
yeah, yeah.
We also had we did Becky Lyra, we did the four-way, we had Gunther versus Pat McAfee. It did what it needed to do.
Can
Didn't overstay
I
its
need
welcome.
a second.
Okay.
The Pat McAfee thing.
What?
It's a little too much.
Well, we
For
already
m-
do that.
for
But
me, it's too much.
here's the thing though, Mills, like we are I hate to say it, we're complicit with a lot of this. I think people don't want to admit that, but we're complicit with it.
Explain.
We if you go back to when he first showed up,
Uh-huh.
we were all for it. We were all in on Pat McAfee. Like we really fucked with him.
I warmed up to him. Yeah.
No, Meals.
I ain't fuck with him off bat. I didn't fuck with him off bat.
We liked him though. We really liked Pat McAfee.
I
Like
warmed up to him for sure. For sure.
sure, but at the end of the day, we liked Pat McAfee. Like that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
he was cool. He was giving a lot of really cool insight. I think there is
But
I think that outside
the
of our bubble, we don't really understand or recognize how popular this guy really is,
yeah.
and it's very easy to be like, "Ah, this nigga," but it's like he is popular for a reason, and you see that every single fucking time he's on TV. You know what I
But
mean?
here
Like he
but here's my I guess here's my like pushback on that, right? Um a,
maybe
a
showing up
lot of
on ESPN.
Yeah, a lot of this I mean, it's because of that, right? Like, it isn't because we kinda, like, fell in love with him as an announcer and stuff like that. It's because of his status within the company, which is why he's pushed and so kind of like it's a lot in our face at the same time. He has his match with Gunther. I mean, we knew it was gonna be back and forth a little bit because they aren't just gonna let Pat McAfee go out there to die. But I even think the little post-match handshake thing, I'm like, I feel like it's detrimental to Gunther in a sense of like he ain't even do that with Jay. He ain't do that with a lot of niggas he even lost to. You know what I'm saying? And then they bring him out on Raw. He has his own entrance after the entrances of the wrestlers. They're like, "Oh yeah, Pat's back. Oh my god, he's dapping up everybody. Michael Cole's like my best friend. Pat is back." Da, 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 da. And then they do another thing after the break. It's like, "Pat, we about to show the replay of your match. You ready to watch this?" And they show the repackage and all this other stuff like that. And it's like, "Yeah, man, I'm glad you came out on the other side." It just feels like a lot. And I understand where Pat is within the company and his status and how important he is based on the position that he has, but it also just kind of feels like a lot. I didn't really like the handshake afterwards. I didn't like the show of respect from Gunther because I feel like Gunther doesn't really respect most. So the fact that he would go out his way to respect this one guy, you know what I'm saying, just because they had a great match and he beat the shit out of him, even though he beats the shit out of a lot of people and has a great match, to me is crazy. Because I don't see him doing this with like Goldberg. You know what I'm saying? Like it I don't know. This is just kind of like the feeling with me. I just feel like, y'all, I
These
get
guys,
it.
they're really fired up about this.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just like, it's a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? Like we turning the flames up a little bit too high on this. Like simmer it down just a little bit. He's
I
cool.
I
He's
I
matcha, nigga.
I
He's
okay,
matcha,
okay,
nigga.
okay, 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 okay. Damn. It doesn't really bother me, I'm not gonna lie. It
Okay,
didn't
all
bother
right.
me at all.
It
Like,
bothers me.
it didn't really bother me at all. I think that ultimately, like, this is a lot of this is for PR. I mean, you look at it and what it is and, like, no, it's not traditionally what you would see and what you would do in wrestling, but, like, I mean, I have heard that Gunther and Pat McAfee are really good friends, and I think that Gunther and Cole and Pat are friends. I've heard this from a lot of people that they're in particular, they wanted to do this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
essentially. So, like, I can see it from that angle, and once I learned that, um, it started to make sense why they wanted to do this thing, and
Sure.
how they could be in a drunken stupor saying, "How about I take some of your chops and we do a match? Let's see if they'll do that." And in that case, it's like Pat pitches it to H. Gunther is cool with it. H is cool with it, and they get to go and have their little friendly thing. And it's like these are things that like Vince probably would have said no to. You know what I mean? And then ultimately, Triple H and Nick Khan, they saw the value in it and they did it. You know what I mean? And I think that we don't see how big of a deal, like I was saying earlier, in our
Mhm.
bubble that Pat McAfee is, that you have someone that is on ESPN in their highest rated show. This guy's making like $20 million from ESPN.
Yeah,
He's on
yeah.
our show every Monday. You know, like that's clout that you can't really buy. And if it's especially somebody that respects the business in the way that we see Pat does it, and he's not always perfect. Let's just be clear, he's not always perfect. All right,
Mhm.
like, and I'm not even gonna put that on him, but like to have that is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? And you have to take advantage of that in any way, shape, or form that you can. So from those instances, I understand it, and I also understand how it could be grating and annoying because Pat can be those things. Pat
Yeah.
absolutely can be those things, and you know, I like the match a lot. We knew he was going to get offense off. We knew it wasn't going to be a complete murder. I saw people being like, "How you just show back up on Raw? He was on ESPN earlier that day."
Yeah. I mean,
Like you
that's
can't
kind
be
of how
mad.
you have to rectify is like, well, we can't kill him because he has to show up to work, not only for ESPN but for us, and then probably
Yeah,
for
but
the rest of the week.
we've also seen him do swantons off cages, and we were cool with that in 2020. You know what I mean? Like that's I think the switch up has to do with a lot of things that annoy us about him. But I think that like for all
I,
of the
I think
oh
it's.
my god, like
I
I'm
just
gonna
think
be
it's a little
real.
much to
As
me.
annoying as he is, he's not more annoying and more detrimental than Logan Paul is. You know what I'm saying?
To
Like he's
but
way more annoying.
to me, it's not necessarily. his personality. It's more so how much WWE continues to, like, go to it on a showly
He's
weekly
a star.
basis.
He's a
I
star.
get it, but it's, like, also he's there every Monday. Like,
Yeah,
nigga,
he's a
get off his dick.
star. That's not even that doesn't even make sense. I don't wanna harp on Pat McAfee too
Okay,
long because like, it's gonna make it seem like I'm a huge fan of him, and I'm not. Like, I'm not a huge fan of him, but I understand why they do what they do, like, and of course, we
no,
don't gotta like it,
I
right? Like,
understand it as well. It's just a little too much for me, just personally. It was just too much for me. I don't know if it's too much for everybody else. I'm not saying this on his personality.
probably
I
is. I think
understand his status in the company. I understand everything like that, but
it
I just
probably is a
feel
lot to a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people, like, he's a white dude that shows up on the show every single week, and, he does what he does. Like, I completely understand, that part of the whole equation. I just think that and I'm on this lately too. Like, we need to find bigger, and this isn't about you. We need to find bigger things to fight for because you're not the only person that says this, and like they try and make it out to be like some type of like it's a MAGA agenda. I'm like niggas, y'all need to find bigger things to fight for
no, I
than Pat
agree.
McAfee being on TV. Like, there's so many other things that niggas could be, trying to get in and trying to get over. Having a nationally televised fucking star on your show, I don't think is that big of a loss for them. So because and the thing is, he's gonna disappear in a couple months anyway, so we're not even gonna see him anymore. So that is what it is. Also on the show, I feel like I'm missing a match here because the show went by so damn fast.
Dom versus Penta, which could have been
Convert
on
that
Raw.
that was really nothing. That could have been a Raw.
Yeah.
And then the main event, which like I don't really know your thoughts on it, Mills. I know mine.
I didn't hate the main event. It's my thoughts on it. I actually thought it was not that it was great, but
Can we
it
agree
was
on
what
one
it
thing? Can we agree on
sure.
one thing? Cena don't got it no more. He don't got the
No,
bag
he
no more.
doesn't. No, he doesn't. But that's where Randy came in. Randy clearly still has it. But I do feel like they not only just the bells and whistles, but they did what they did to appease the crowd and kind of like make this major encounter. But it's clear that without the context of John Cena doing certain things on the show that you don't have, because he literally comes out every time he's on the show just to cut the same fucking promo. Um, this heel turn isn't as strong as it could be. And I
Mhm.
feel like it's a waste of the final shows of John Cena, in my
He
opinion.
yeah, I'll say this.
I like the
I
match
think
though.
I think me and you differ on how the match like the bells and whistles were clearly because of the two people that don't have the bag like that no more. Like it
Yeah.
was very much a 2006, and people would have ragged on this 2006, and I think that was funny to me. It was how many people, and I'm not saying you again. I'm not shooting at you, but like there's people who shit on the overbooked, stuff like that on in AEW, but they're cool with this. And I said it in our chat. I was like, I can't shit on AEW and be okay with this match because it's not it wasn't my cup of tea. It just really wasn't. Um, but I will say that there seems to be an act of course correction happening. And it looks like to me, and a lot of the show felt like that to me, of Triple H trying to steer the car back on the road from last month. Like you can tell, like he's trying to let's get this back to where it should probably be. I don't think Cena is long for this heel turn. I will say that much. They seem to already be kind of walking it back a little bit.
I mean, he just FU'd or AA'd R-Truth through a table, so
I mean, walking it back in the sense that like the stuff that happened after the show went off, uh, them doing it clearly things or clearly angles here, Mills, where they're trying to do where they're trying to get him booed. My issue is that it's so hard to boo this man right now. You know what I mean? Because everyone
yeah.
knows this is his last year. It's like they
And he
shouldn't have
coming to
done
your city, nigga.
and it goes back to what I've been saying since the beginning. Why didn't they just do this angle at Mania where it would have hit harder and it would have led to a better story and Cody wouldn't have had to be off TV for so long.
But even if they did it at Mania, if this is how you're using John Cena, you're not going to get the massive heat that you probably should or really care to desire. Like, if this is how we're using John Cena, and if at this point we can clock it, it's like, okay, John Cena's gonna be on SmackDown. Let's course 20 minutes out for him, um, cutting this promo and getting RKO'd or getting kicked in the face or getting kneed in the balls or whatever it is. Like, if this is what we're doing, at some point people will understand the formula and it won't even be exciting anymore. That people will
Yeah,
just be
'cause
like, okay, this is happening.
it's just
Like,
nutshot, all this like, I saw somebody tweeted that said, like, he's not really, like, ruining wrestling
yeah,
with what he's doing,
I
and I
agree
was
with
like,
that.
"Yeah, yeah, yeah," like, I don't yeah, it's not like he's actually actively ruining wrestling right now. It's like he's doing a caricature of a heel act, and it's like, it makes me think, like, is his heart really in it? Like, I was honestly like, "Is his heart does he wanna do this?" Because it don't seem like that to me. It just seems like he's just, like, kinda going through the motions. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't the hugest fan of it, but I understand that, and it's dangerous that they're doing this, by the way. I'm not gonna say that it's okay that they're doing this, but they created a polarizing match for the sake of having a polarizing match,
Mhm.
right? Where it's like, okay, a lot of people probably won't like this, but that's okay because this is just a part of the next story. I think that people too often, and I myself can be guilty of it as well, look at PLEs as a way for them to end stories. And sometimes in Triple H's eyes, a lot of the times he ends the stories on TV. That's literally just what he does. This was the beginning of a larger story that they're gonna tell, and I'll see what happens next. But if this is gonna be the Cena Mania or the Cena PLE match every month, strap in because we're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, really, because at this point, it looks like he about to have a match with R-Truth. So,
Oh, it's definitely our truth in him as Saturday Night's main event. I would imagine that will lead to Cody returning, um, who they have not even mentioned in weeks.
I mean, he did get booed for the last number of times. I think it's alright. I think it's perfect to, like, cool people off, especially I look at Cody, I look at Bianca, like, people who just off television. It's probably time for them to be off television for an
But
extended period
think
of
of the
time.
Cody boos. I keep hearing people use that talking point. Like, I don't think of the Cody boos as anything indicative of how people really feel about him. You're putting him next to a John Cena that, like, people really didn't expect or want to turn heel.
Right, but then my thing is that you can it can start there, but then it can start snowballing into something more obnoxious. You know what I'm saying? Because once people start booing him, then people will just start picking other points of things to really build upon that, and then the
I don't
crowd
think that'll
consensus
happen.
be it literally happened to John Cena.
I don't think that'll happen with Cody though.
I mean,
You really think that he's gonna come back and people are gonna be like not happy to
no,
see
no, no,
him?
no. I said if he didn't come off of TV, I could see how that would end up snowballing all
Yeah,
after the fact.
because at this point they have to get people to boo John Cena.
Right, exactly. So it was that's why I'm like the proponent of like, okay, it's probably best he's off TV for even a little bit. I don't know, maybe nigga filming a movie. I don't fucking know.
He need, but and to that point, he's probably on vacation. He was on almost every TV all
Yeah,
year and
he
2
was
shows, so
nigga, ever since he came back from the pictorial thing, he been going. So um
anyway, Backlash, good show. Watch the first match, watch Becky Lyra. Your mileage may vary on the main event.
yeah.
That's where we're at.
Watch it
Let's
when it
get
comes out on YouTube next year. That's what I would say.
there's been a very large kinda online contingent for the past couple of weeks, and I wanna kind of combine these 2 before we get out of here.
Sure.
One of them being the Will Ospreay thing, the other thing being the Je'von Evans and Ricochet thing. I think they're 2 sides of the same coin here in terms of how tribalism can goes right and when keeping it real goes wrong, right? Um, and I think both of them are when keeping it real goes wrong. But Will Ospreay had an interview right before Dynamite last week, and I was just like, guy, I don't know if you should have said that after we watched that episode of
On a
Dynamite
PLE week, you know what I'm
on a
saying?
PLE week. Like, you're crazy. I don't know who sent them out to do that, but he talked about how he's not a fan of WWE. How I heard WrestleMania sucked. I'm like,
Yeah, what is
who
AEW's what is AEW's PR doing? That's what I'm saying. I'm just
yeah,
like, bro,
like
what?
what? You heard that it sucked. What are you talking? Who are you hearing this from? Why are you even saying this? I think there's a way to handle this shit with class, but my issue with the Will Ospreay
As a
comments is that
professional for and someone who understands that there's other people in the industry as well, for sure.
yes, like these are the same people that always talk about we are being silenced. People are picking on AEW every single fucking moment that we turn around, and then you say that, and then you turn around and you feed the beast. They turn around and feed the beast every time, and I don't understand why they do that.
I think kind of like talking about it, I think it's a double standard a lot, especially with the Javon thing. And I think people are kind of taking it out because Javon's young and they just kind of look at him a certain way. Javon didn't say the equivalent of what Javon said is what Will Ospreay and Ricochet said. Now, Ricochet is a little bit less because he clearly does not like his old place of work and he's like fine not working there. But what Will Ospreay says is low-key kind of like disrespectful, where I would be like, listen, I'm a better wrestler than all them niggas there. I only heard there was only one good match. Da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, bro, you have peers within this industry that you work with who you can work with in the future. But no one is saying that if Will Ospreay, if some shit goes down with AEW, you could be out of a job and you won't be able to go to WWE. But they're telling that to Javon, who's like, Javon, you don't want to say anything bad about
Is there
AEW
is
because you
there
might ruin
somebody
your
in his
future
family?
jobs.
Is there somebody in his family that can reach out to him and tell him this is the wrong way to go?
I
Fuck
was like,
off.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, he a grown ass man. Like, no, I mean, Javon's still roughly young, but I'm like, yo, he a grown ass man. He'll deal with his own problems no matter what. But it's like ultimately, you can't shoot one way, and then when someone shoot back, you start complaining. And that's what I hated about the kind of the discourse last week because I thought it was evolving into, especially the one surrounding Javon, where I was like, first of all, you're fake coddling him
Y'all
because
don't actually care about him.
y'all don't care about him at all. But then also you're not holding the same space for something that literally happened 2 days before. When it was, Will Ospreay thing, I mean, it's tribalism on both sides, but people gotta admit that they're fueling the flames to the tribalism. And this isn't some, like, wrestling, kind of like, "Oh, you need to enjoy it all." It's clearly a
And
war on both
and
sides,
and let
and
me be clear, because you're saying this, and I wanna preface this by saying that I'm saying this, not you. All
okay.
right? But as real as you gotta be about Pat McAfee, I gotta be real about this. So
Is Pat your
I
mans?
I'll just no, it's not my man's, but,
Okay.
like, I don't like him, and that's why I stopped it because I was like, I don't wanna seem like I'm a fan of him, but I understand him.
Sure.
I gotta say, Ricochet started this, and as a
Yeah.
grown man, almost in his 40s, to be doing the TJ Perkins, Imma be an online troll, Imma try and get people riled up, etcetera, etcetera, etcetera. They're not watching the shows. What you're doing is not bringing viewers. It's not even reflected on what you do on a week to week basis on TV itself, because you can't bring up Je'von Evans on TV. You also can't work him in any way, shape, or form on TV at all. Anyway,
Mhm.
he barked up the wrong tree because even his response to what Je'von said was like, "Whoa, whoops, I don't got nothing for that," because he didn't have anything for it because he knew it was fucking crazy that he did that shit. I think Ricochet needs to tone down the Twitter shit before he gets himself in trouble. Which I just where's Daniel Bryan to tell him to cut this shit out, or Brian Danielson, whatever. Where's the disciplinary committee to tell him to cut this shit out? He started
I
this shit because Javon was not even he wasn't even tagged in the tweet that he said he was going to squash Javon or whatever he said in it. There
it
wasn't a
doesn't take
show of
it'll
respect
get
at
to him.
all.
It'll get to him. It just is what it is. They're both this is how the internet works as little fans. But I do agree. My thoughts on this is that you'll never win against the internet. As much as you think that what you're doing is cool and what you're doing is thing, I don't think that there's any long gain doing the internet gimmick crazy. Um, I could understand it from a standpoint of like this is part of the character that I'm trying to build in this certain way, but then I also think that you're going to get fucked at some point. Like I'm pretty sure AEW at this point has told him stop talking about WWE. Just don't mention it. You can mention all the AEW people you want. I could be wrong. Um, but she's like it's like you're not going to win against the internet. And I think it's in some places it could be detrimental to his character overall to continue doing
It
this?
is it's not even in some ways, Meals. It is actively detrimental to his character because he cannot reference anything that he's doing on TV.
Right.
He can't talk about any of this shit. Like, he literally cannot talk about any of this stuff. So it is detrimental. It makes literally no sense for him to be sitting there defending AEW for 12 hours a day against internet trolls. It makes no sense.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
It actively hurts whatever character he's trying to build for himself. Like, it actively hurts him.
Especially if you get to a point where the TV time isn't matching the Twitter time.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. What happens when all of that goes away and they're
Yeah,
not fucking with you no more?
right?
What makes you think it's
If the
gonna be
same
different?
yeah, if the same thing happens to if what everyone's assuming will happen to Javon happens to you, then where does it go from here?
Because I promise you, the upside for Je'Von is endless. He's like 20 years old.
Yeah.
This is one mistake for him. That's my whole point. This is one mistake for Je'Von.
And they probably don't even they're probably like, "Nigga, just delete the tweets."
Yeah, exactly. That's just one mistake for him. But for Ricochet, this is a mountain of things that people could bring up. The moment AEW hits a certain rating, they're gonna bring up these tweets. The moment Ricochet's not on TV anymore, the moment he loses a big match, they're gonna bring this up every single time. He
You can't
needs to chill the fuck out.
yeah, you can't win against the internet. You're never gonna win. So don't even
Nigga
most
had a
top stars
tweet.
don't even use it.
He had a tweet. Oh, well, I went to goddamn
A
to a
signing.
signing, and they didn't say that my career was over. Who cares? Literally, who cares? He needs to stop it. He looked like the lamest nigga on earth. Like, come on, man. He's just it's too much. He needs to stop it. I'm sorry. He just needs to stop it. Will Ospreay, he's an idiot. I mean, we already knew that though.
Yeah,
We already
really.
knew he was. We already
But
knew he was stupid.
I don't know. We can let's continue this on Patreon.
Yeah.
I have more
Thank you guys.
thoughts.
Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate everything. We're gonna move over to some of SmackDown and Raw as well. Uh, yeah, next week we'll have a huge episode of Raw. A lot of big matches. Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker. SmackDown likely going to be a big match or a big show. They haven't announced a lot from it, but we'll have the rundown on that as well. As we are Meals 2 weeks away almost from Money in the Bank. So there's going to be a lot of there's actually going to be qualifiers. They did announce that on Raw. There's going to be Money in the Bank qualifiers. So
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't pay attention to Raw too mostly because of the game, but
I don't know what we're going to talk about, but yeah. So
I got to it.
we'll see what happens on everything. So thank you guys for listening to the A Show. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.